I finally managed to track down a space cab Canopy. As you can see, it's off a Ford Ranger 2018 model. It's the factory Aeroklas Canopy. I found this one on Facebook Marketplace for $850, but it did involve a drive from Wangaratta to Leeton, which is quite a hike. The white canopy doesn't really go with the car, so I decided to go ahead and Raptor Coat it. To start with, I removed all the windows and glass and as many fittings as possible. It was quite fiddly, there's a lot of screws and you've got to lay down inside the tray.
Yeah, straight back on, and then just put the middle on the thing. You alright? Cool. Yep.
Oh, that looks good, huh?
Preparation is key when painting anything, especially car parts. So right here, I'm just washing things down with some warm water and dishwashing liquid. You want to avoid car wash because a lot of them do have wax and other chemicals in it, which might stop the paint from sticking in the long term. After that, I did use some Scotch-Brite and some fine sandpaper to basically scuff the surface before washing it down for the final time. With the canopy clean and daylight running out, it was time to call it a day. Overall, I was happy with the progress and would leave it overnight to come back and start in the morning. So what I'm doing here is basically masking any of the rubbers that are still there, along with the brake lights and interior light. It's quite a fiddly task that has to be done. After that, I did a final wipe down with wax and grease remover. Any brand from Repco or Super Cheap Auto will do the trick. Just removing any dust and contaminants before the final paint. So this is a final walk around before I started painting. Everything's masked up. I've got newspapers on most of the windows where I could get it to stick. I actually had a hard time getting this painting tape or masking tape to stick. In some parts I did use a clear packing tape, just trying to cover up all the corners and all the rubber. I would recommend if you go to Bunnings, maybe don't buy the cheapest tape available. Splurge a bit, spend an extra $1 or $2 because it's going to stick a lot better than this did. After everything was taped, I sprayed a quick coat of adhesion promoter. So this was the Raptor brand as well. Mainly around the corners and the edges, anywhere I thought it would lift up potentially. This was followed by a total of 5 cans of 2K Raptor Coat in black. I started off on a test area, which was the front facing window, which basically gets hidden by the cab, so if there was any mistakes, it wouldn't be visible. So Raptor Coat in the can does come out quite thick. Make sure you do shake it for a few minutes before you begin. The other pro tip is don't go over the corners or the edges too much, because it will start to pull and you will see a thicker coating in those areas. Originally I did purchase one can of the Raptor Coat 2K with the intention of painting something else. I actually wanted to do my rear bar. At the time I paid $72 for one can and $30 for the adhesion promoter. Fast forward to when I painted this canopy and I had to get the remaining cans. The price had actually gone up to $103 a can. So quite expensive stuff. You really don't want to waste it. One of the reasons I decided to go with the cans over the spray kit was it actually worked out slightly cheaper. And at the time I was painting at my parents' house, so I didn't actually have an air compressor with me. So to purchase the spray kit and a cheap compressor would have actually cost me about $100 to $200 more. So in the end, I decided to go with the cans. At this point, I'm on the final can of Raptor Coat. Just going over a few areas which are a bit light in coverage. I probably could have used an additional can just to get a better coat in some of the areas, but overall I think it came out pretty good. So this is just a bit of a shot in terms of the finish. The great thing about Raptor Coat is that it hides a lot of the flaws. So with the texture, you can't actually see a lot of the mistakes that you make or poor preparation. So it hides things really well. After letting the canopy dry for a few hours, it was time to start removing the tape and newspaper. It was touch dry and I wanted to get the tape and newspaper off before it cured or went too hard. The next day, I put the canopy back onto the car. I laid down some tape just to stop it rubbing, and put a bead of silicone around the inside just to make it dust and waterproof. So this is the final result. All the glass and windows are back in the Canopy. I also hooked up the brake light. All up, it cost $572, which was about $2,000 to $2,500 cheaper than getting it professionally color matched. It's one of the main reasons I went with the Raptor Coat. One, I could do it myself, and two, it was much, much cheaper. I think it looks good. It definitely suits the car. It's a little bit unique, as you don't really see too many of these. And overall, really stoked with how it came out.